right, everyone. Welcome back to the Journey to Earth podcast, where Matt and I, your brotherly hosts, are working to uncover and reforest the planet one podcast at a time. And we're really excited for today. We've got a nice one coming your way, and we're going to jump right into it with Mr. Jam and Jambra. It looks like he's calling himself today. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up with your name, man? Nickel and Dimes.
Nickel and Dimes.
You did it before, though. That's in one of the other recordings that we did.
I was slacking.
You either didn't change it from the last episode, or you forgot that you used it already.
It was probably a little bit of both, and maybe hopefully it's the episode we scrap. But
yeah, right. Yeah, we'll get. I'll fix this guy. Yeah, but I think I like it, Nickel and Dime. So I mean,
I'm feeling extra poor today. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, Jam and Jambra. I had nothing. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I have to change. That's what I came up with. I was on the fly.
Forgive us, everyone. Forgive us.
Yeah, it's late. This is one of the later episodes that we recorded.
Yeah,
I'm practically wearing pajamas. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like,
full sweats going on down below. You're good.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to dress up for anything right now. So I apologize.
You're good. You're good, dude. It's no problem at all.
I was gonna say something too, and I totally lost what I was gonna say, but well, we'll get back to that.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So what's going on, dude? It looks like big update we have for everyone today is Matt is officially sitting down. So I'm going to let him release the official big update on the top of this episode for us today.
I'm not going to lie. I forgot just how good sitting and talking actually was, and how less awkward it feels to be like, down rather than just like hovering over the world. You
look good.
But yeah, no. So and the colors have changed. So, a couple of episodes that we recorded back, it was like drywall and spackle behind me. That's going to be coming out, I'm sure, at some point. But right now, we got color on the wall. I got a new desk. We got some new lights. I got a new microphone. So, I mean, it's slowly turning into the back porch. It's hard to believe this was a back porch, but it's turning into a recording studio now. And it's just slowly coming together. We're going to work on that light source. That's next. As long as the audio is good. So
the aura comes with
the
studio.
So I've read that you should worry about audio first with a podcast. So I got a microphone. It's the one that everyone recommended, and I realized that I don't have the cover on it. So my P's are probably like punching people in the face. They're probably like Peter Piper picked a pack of pickle. It's probably
That was great. That was great.
So I apologize, everybody, if my P's are a little bit.
We're just going to uncover the planet here.
Yeah.
That's why you're Jam and Jambra, dude. You've got the concert mic. This is perfect timing for the audio upgrade.
No, but it's good, man. Man. I feel like it's starting to come together. So
yeah, you've got good posture going on. So I mean that matters,
Yeah, a little such, but it feels good.
Yeah.
So you though, however, you're in New York, which is good. So
I'm in New York.
Going down to DC for a little bit yet. So you're in New York. You're home and.
I'm based at home.
Good there?
Yeah, man. I'm in my little studio right now, the corner of my tiny one-bedroom apartment that we outgrew about 3 years ago. So, yeah. But it's all right. I got this cozy little spot. I got a little desk going. So, I have had the privilege of sitting most of these episodes already. So I can't complain too much.
So
yeah. I speak from experience. Yeah, a nice cushy chair. It goes a long way. So
yeah, right. I don't have any cushion on this chair. That's the only thing. I thought that right before we started. I'm like, man, I should have got something for the lumbar. Some kind of support.
This solid wood's really getting the back.
38's really not treating me all that well these days. I'm falling apart, man. I really need that. Actually, I have an appointment with a spine surgeon of all things.
What?
Yeah, I went to like my regular doctor. I'm like, I got some back pain. And like, how long have you had it? And I was like, forever. Like, we're gonna recommend you go see a spine surgeon.
Bad.
And I'm like, all right. Might push that off a couple more months.
I thought this was a physical. I didn't think this was gonna escalate.
So that's where my life is headed. So get ready.
Wow. All right. Well, hopefully this is a more positive experience today than you going to the doctors and getting a spinal tap.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. So I don't know. We can get started on these topics. I don't know. We kind of flirted with my one topic when we were pre-recording. So I don't know if you want me to run it. I don't know who went last or first last time.
Oh man,
it was hard.
That was like 2 years ago. It felt
first the last time. I know, really. So to be in all honest truth, Nick and I started these recordings in summer, or I think it was August, because I think the very first episode I talked about growing tomatoes in the backyard, and we released the episode that was like January 17th.
It's like, wow, is that a layer of ice on the ground?
Literally crickets in the background, and I was like, how do I edit out? How do I edit out crickets? There was like no Google search for that.
These guys are not around right now. We're a little past due.
We have a couple stored up, but eventually, maybe you guys might get this one in the summer.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Maybe we should make a soundboard for crickets, so it just fits in no matter what.
Yeah. So, we'll get there, man. We'll catch up.
We are. All right. We're trying to get back on pace.
Life just gets at you. Yeah. But anyway, so
we
were talking pre-podcast here or pre-recording about something that I was talking about. Now, do you want to start, or do you want me to run right into what we were talking about?
I think you're already jamming. So if you want to keep being that jam and jam, bro,
I am.
I think we let you take the lead, bro.
Okay. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
This is another good one
because
right?
my chair.
I feel like all of my podcasts so far, like as I'm going back through the episodes, yours have been super positive about like good things happening around the planet, and all of mine have been like we're doomed. Like so, this one's not any different. So I just so you know, I want to try to change it up, but I just there's just so much happening that I just. So all right,
no good news.
We're gonna get into it. No, there's none. So all right, so mine is about plastics. All right, we kind of touched on that a little bit before we started to record. Plastics, they are a problem on this planet, and apparently they're a much bigger problem than I had ever thought. So I'm just going to read you a couple of the recent headlines. Most of these were within the last couple of weeks. There were a couple headlines like back even in like November of 22. But really, man, this is kind of where we're at here. So here's just a couple of headlines. All right.
I'm ready.
Soil and fresh water come under the spotlight in plastics pollution fight. Micro-sized polyethylene particles show adverse effects in cell lines, meaning that there's microplastics not only in our bodies, but now invading our cells. I'll get to that later.
Oh, good.
Washing fabrics by hand reduces microplastic compared to the machine washing. So I'm thinking, all right, my word, who's going to go out there with a washboard and wash their clothes? Until I read this stat, right? Manual methods release far fewer fibers. The polyester fabric shed an average of 1,853 microplastic pieces during hand washing compared to the average of 23,723 pieces from the same fabric that was washed in a washing machine.
What?
Yes. Another one.
Like 20X.
Are we breathing airborne microplastics? Study finds higher concentrations indoors. So the answer, yes. Microplastics flow into the Gulf St. Vincent waters. Dude, I can just keep going. I mean, these are all within like the last couple of weeks.
This is bad, dude.
I kind of had to stop, and I was just like, man, what is happening? And then I, started to delve a little deeper into this topic, and I realized that, okay, we do have a plastic problem. All right. So I don't know about you, and I don't know what it's like in your part of New York, but where I live in Pennsylvania, and specifically my town, we stopped recycling glass bottles. So we moved into this house in 2019. We were recycling glass bottles. It was acceptable. Everything was like commingled. You throw it all into the same recycling bin, and they took the whole thing away. Then they eventually started asking us to separate a couple of things and then specifically remove glass. So now we're not even recycling glass. So that's just going right into the garbage, which takes about 400 years to decompose and, break up. Plastics, though, we're only recycling 1s and 2s.
You're missing like 3 through 7. Or 3.
Yes. Yeah. And not only that, but if you look at, we have a 2-year-old, so a lot of like baby foods and stuff like that, they're like single use pouches, stuff like that. They're just not recyclable. So, that started, getting the wheels turning for us. Like, what can we do to change this? We need to like stop contributing to the problem. And so we've been trying, and it wasn't until I started looking up this article and, this pod topic that I realized that like our efforts weren't enough, that like we really need to go a step further. And it's not even just recycling, because I forget, there was another stat. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. Oh gosh, it's like terrible. I'm like looking over all my notes here that I had, and Hang on one second.
You mean those headlines weren't bad enough?
No, I know. I just went down the rabbit hole, but I can't seem to find it. But it was basically how much plastic. Let's see, nanoplastics. Okay, over the last 70 years, 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic have been produced globally, and only 9% of them have been recycled. So even if you are recycling, all right, now I know you said this, even if you recycle, sometimes the truck throws the recycling in the garbage truck.
Correct.
And they're not getting recycled at all.
Correct.
I've seen that. And now you're saying that you've seen that.
Literally every time I go to recycle, because I do my due diligence and try to put as much as I can in the recycling, and then I'm leaving my car garage and I just see it going all in the back, all mixed in with the things that are just going straight to the landfill. So that just gives me so much hope to know we're, doing the right thing. It's a broken system.
So I guess, on that, so I guess what happened in the past, we used to give all of our recycling to China, and they gladly took it. They did whatever they did with it. They reused it.
Yeah, we just shipped it away.
And then they stopped. And then I think it then went to India.
Or South America, I think.
Something like
somewhere
that.
Yes.
And then COVID happened, and then they stopped. So now we are producing all this plastic. We're importing all this plastic, and we have no way to contain it or handle it or recycle it, really.
Yeah.
So we're just producing, and it's just piling up like crazy. So I have a couple of other fun facts just about plastic, not necessarily nanoplastics, the small stuff, but just, good old plastic bottles and whatnot. So, all right, here's a couple of things. This is shocking ocean plastic statistics. So this is all about the ocean now. Okay. More than 1 million seabirds and 100,000 marine animals die from plastic pollution every year. 100% of baby sea turtles have plastic in their stomachs.
Wait, 100%?
100%. So there's not one. So what they're saying is that there's not one baby sea turtle without plastic in its stomach.
None will remain untouched.
It's like, what?
We suck.
Like, that's a statistic. I know. Like, what are we doing?
I'm sorry I cut you off. I'm like, hold on a minute. I thought it was going to be 90. Like, no,
that was only that was only bullet point turtle. 2, man. There are now 5.25 trillion macro and micro pieces of plastic in our ocean, and 46,000 pieces in every square mile of ocean, weighing up to 269,000 tons. Every day, 8 million pieces of plastic make their way into our oceans. That equals the dumping of one garbage truck into the ocean every single minute.
Holy crap, dude. This is so bad.
Should I go on?
Right in. I don't. You want to save some bad news for the next episode, brother, or should we just
yeah, man,
rip them all off right here? Just getting everyone to tune right up.
I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. That's 88% of the sea surface is polluted by plastic waste. I don't know what else to say.
I don't even know what to say because all those are so staggering. It's just.
So plastic, this is something that I get drives me nuts. So plastic packaging is the biggest culprit, resulting in 80 million tons of waste yearly, of waste yearly in the U.S. alone. So plastic packaging, that's an issue. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
Yeah,
Christmas.
It's all right. It's ridiculous.
My kids, it takes them 25 minutes to open up their toy. Right? I had this Barbie set. It took me forever to get the shoes out because it was wrapped. Like I was trying to detonate a bomb. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, I could not. Plastic's in the plastic.
I was right? I couldn't believe it. Plastic was in the plastic, and then it was tied with plastic, like zip ties.
And the toy is made of plastic.
That was made of plastic. So it's just insane,
dude. Yeah,
it's insane where we're at.
My personal favorite is when you go to the grocery store and I'm a weirdo like that, and I look in the store. I'm like, what isn't wrapped in stuff that we're just going to throw away the second you unpack it? But my favorite, I think, is when you go to the grocery store and there is fruit that has a natural barrier on it, where like a banana peel, for an example, and then we wrap that in plastic to bring it home because we don't want that peel to touch anything. but you're not, unless you're a barbarian and you eat the eel. I don't think you really have too much to freaking worry about. You probably don't need the stupid plastic bag to bring it home.
I know.
I'll be crazy, but it's bad, dude.
No,
bananas and Barbies, just starting there.
Right. Well, if you want to start saving the planet, all right, we'll get rid of the plastic bags of bananas.
We're starting with the B's.
Get rid of Barbie altogether. No, sorry.
The A's are okay.
My daughter and all the other little girls and boys who like to play with Barbie. I don't mean that, right? We're not getting rid of Barbies here.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, man.
Kens.
Aldi's is like one of my favorite stores ever, but they are huge culprits of plastic packaging. Like you go there, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy a bag of apples, and they're just wrapped. Like, and if there's one bad apple in there, I mean, I'm not going to buy it because it's mushy and it's moldy,
right?
And it's
going to
leaking
get the other ones
all over my other clean apples. So I'm like, I'd rather just, either put them in my own bag that I'm bringing, my container, my reusable bag, or something like that, rather than just letting, and then they take that bag. Well, I guess all these doesn't because you bring your own bag, but I've seen other grocery stores. You do this, you go and you buy a bag of apples, and then they put that bag in another bag. And then they asked me, do you want it? I'm like, no, it's in a bag. I don't know if you noticed, but
we don't need a 3-bag system here.
They actually made a handle in the bag on the apples like this. I don't need another bag.
That is just pure waste. It's pure waste. I brought my bag for a reason. Thank you. But
yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of other stats that are just driving me nuts about this. So I don't know, man. Hang on. Let's see here. The world uses over 5 billion plastic bags a year. That's 150 bags per person on Earth. 8 billion plastic straws pollute the world's beaches, but only 1% of straws end up as waste in the ocean. But only 1% of straws end up as waste in the ocean. 8 billion. Well, I guess, is that not a bad? I mean, okay. Wait, 8 billion
still crazy.
Plastic straws pollute the world's beaches. Oh, okay. Yeah, the beaches. But only 1% end up as waste in the ocean. That's like trying to put a nice spin on that, but no, it's still like, there's still plastic all over the beaches. Yeah.
It's still bad. Yeah, it's still covered.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to take this in a different route now. Okay, I think we grasped this sheet here that I had, that
detrimental problem.
Straws that are horrible. But the nanoplastics, now this is where things kind of get really scary. I was talking about how they start invading our cells. So there are a lot of other stats, and I'm not going to get too crazy with the stats here. I'm just going to talk here. But what's happening is microplastics, all right? Nanoplastics are a really big problem. So when plastics start wearing down, when you scuff your shoes, on the floor, when the ocean waves break, it releases these nanoparticles. When you screech your tires, when you open a package, when you scrape a piece of plastic, all of that contributes to these nanoplastics. Most of them you can't even see, right? But the biggest problem with these nanoplastics are that they're everywhere now. They're finding them in soils. They're finding them in the sky. They're finding them in the ocean, the sky, like the atmosphere. That one I do want to read a stat to you for, because it's crazy.
Yeah, pull that up, because that's...
So this is, all right, now...
Great, they fly now. Wonderful.
Our good friend Adam, who was living in New Zealand for a while, he's now back. And he will be joining us on a pod. I talked to him.
Yes.
He's in.
If you were already.
But microplastics...
Awesome.
No, for sure, man. So Adam, this one's for you. Microplastics in Auckland's air equal... Wait, why am I can't read this. Microplastics in Auckland's air equal 3 million plastic bottles a year. So the air, so the microplastics in their air equals about 3 million plastic bottles a year. That's how much microplastics is in the air.
Oh my God. The air. Like the freaking air.
Researchers at the University of Auckland calculated that 74 metric tons of microplastics are dropping out of the atmosphere onto the city annually, equivalent of more than 3 million plastic bottles falling from the sky.
It is raining plastic. It is officially raining plastic. Yeah. Oh my God. Dude, this is, I got to cut you off. This is something in a fiction movie that you're like, oh, like it's raining plastic. And then it's, Steve Carell making a joke out of it after. And then But no, this is reality, you know?
No, this is reality. So it's
reality.
in the air. There's microplastics in the air. There's microplastics in the soil. There are plastic bottles and plastic everything in the ocean. They're in 100% of baby sea turtles' bellies, apparently. And not only that, though, man, but we are breathing in. This is another crazy stat I read. It was that we are breathing in the equivalent to one credit card, like every minute or something.
I don't know if I want to hear this. I don't know if I want to hear that part.
I know we laugh because I don't know what else to do, man. Deep down, I'm crying inside.
Yeah, it's because, dude, we've produced so much of this garbage crap that now it's so abundant we don't know what to do with it because it's such a hard material to recycle, and we didn't start from the beginning processing it the right way. You know, if I think to me, I think the biggest problem, one, the nanoparticles is probably the biggest concern. That's the one that blows my mind
sure.
Because I mean, if you go out to eat or something, you get a reusable cup, like not a reusable, but if it's, a 1 or a 2 plastic and they have a recycling bin, it's easier to get part of the recycling system for a county, for example, just taking that full item, putting it in. But with nanoparticles, dude, what are you going to do? Meander through the soil or pull it out of the freaking air with your hands? I mean, that's the problem. Once it breaks down to those very small particulate pieces, you don't even know where it is anymore. So you're basically just relying on Earth systems that this is such a new material that it hasn't seen until the last, 50-ish years, in terms of Earth's history, that it's going to take hundreds to get rid of.
I mean, you start looking at any kind of, major study or any kind of environmental study, they all start from like the 1970s,
that's the cusp.
And I mean, also too, like the Industrial Revolution, I'm sure that didn't help, but like really when we started becoming more wasteful.
Yeah, I'd say 70s.
Right. And that's, and that's when things just kind of started really going down with us and just, not having any consideration. I mean, thankfully Earth Day and all that, like the Earth movement happened. I think it was 72 or 74. So, I mean, that's positive that happened, but we're almost at that point. They're saying there are so many other studies that are saying that we are potentially past, like we can't clean this up now. It's here. There's major issues. And it's just going to be going downhill from now on. I mean, again, dude, this is just plastic. All right. This is just issues with, in addition to, deforestation and, climate change and everything else that's happening. It's just we are
acidification,
quickly moving in the wrong direction. And I don't even know. I don't even know how to handle it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where we're breaking the system. I mean, I think it's so hard. I think it obviously depends on the system that you're talking about. Like you said, deforestation and acidification and climate. I think they all have different turning points, but they're all going in the same direction, and it's way too detrimental, way too fast. Because we're pushing all of them beyond their limits, And they all said the same thing. 10 more years, 10 more years the soil. That's our window.
Or 10 more years the forests aren't going to be. 10 more years the birds aren't going to be. Or 10 more years the insect. Like in 10 more years, man.
It's
we
the
need
whole
to change
system.
a lot of stuff. A lot of things have to change within 10 years.
It's full-blown revolution like we had with the Industrial Revolution. Like we need a green revolution at this point, or there's no other answer.
That's exactly it. We are at that point where it's just like, okay, in 10 more years, we're going to be in a rapid decline, and there's nothing that's going to bring us out of it.
Yeah,
which is scary. So we'll laugh reading these headlines, but this is serious stuff.
This is scary
stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand how every single massive news channel doesn't spend at least an hour a day reporting on the environmental.
Oh yeah,
aspects,
I mean they report everything else that's depressing in life.
Yeah,
why not?
Everything else sucks
like,
to divide people. I mean, that's my own problem with media. It's just let's divide people as much as we can. But how about you talk about the one thing that affects literally every single person that you're talking to, the world
every
that we all
living
live on.
organism. Yeah, not just
that it all
people,
supports. Yeah,
right.
And going back to plastic, dude, I think that's one thing that's so absolutely concerning for me because, like, for example, you look at climate, and we know a big reason for all of these massive turning points is because of how many greenhouse gas emissions we're pumping into the atmosphere every single year. But with plastic, that's almost like its own system. I feel like when we were talking, for ocean acidification or deforestation, land conversion, all those systems, desertification. All of those systems are really reliant on greenhouse gas emissions. But plastic, if we were in a completely carbon-free, methane-free economy right now and civilization, plastic is like an outlying situation that's still affecting massive systems that isn't related to emissions. However, it is related to emissions because how do you make plastic? You make it from oil and petroleum.
Right.
So it's all part of that as well. So, I mean, even just the plastic production, it's leading to carbon emissions, and that's one of the reasons why the greenhouse gases are so high. But we haven't even really begun to understand the plastic that is now in the environment that's out there already, how that's going to start to affect so many systems, like you just said, dude, in every single way,
right?
Because it's everywhere, because we have never known the impacts that it had. It's almost like you were saying with the 70s movement, where we had that big awareness on the ozone layer, where, I forget the exact name of it, but a lot of our, the aerosol sprays that we were spraying, that was affecting the ozone layers.
Was that VOCs?
VOCs.
Volatile organic compounds?
Yes.
Yeah. Or
that was
organic compounds. Yeah.
But I mean, that only affected one piece, dude. It's like, all right, so all of these VOCs are going in, and if we stop this and we pass regulation to make that happen, we can clear this up. Nanoparticles in soil and water and everywhere else, that's a whole other ballgame, man.
Yeah.
Because it's the difference is in the 70s when you said, all we have to do is stop producing this and it should recover. If we stopped producing literally tomorrow every single piece of plastic that we're making, we're still left with a monster problem.
Oh, yeah.
So
and it's not going to resolve itself anytime soon.
No. And it's kind of up to us to get resilient on it, or just get it. We have to adapt, and hopefully natural systems can help, but.
For sure. And I mean, there is some good news, as always. I don't like to just be completely, Debbie Downer. I want to shed some light on the good things that are happening. People are realizing this. They're recognize that there is a problem, that there is an issue. So they are, governments are taking steps to do something. It's not just going completely, but it's super early. That's, right now it's kind of like the Wild West in terms of, what you can do with anything goes, so they're really, really trying. I did find that stat real quick that this one says you may be inhaling up to 16.2 bits of plastic every hour, the equivalent of an entire credit card every week. That's how much is just floating around the air. And a lot of issues are, indoors. So like if you're indoors, there's a lot of plastic pollutants just floating around the air as opposed to being outside, apparently. So, man.
Because it's contained.
Yeah.
That makes
sense.
The
most common microplastic particles are, like I was saying, the dust, or tire dust, artificial grass, and washing clothes made of artificial fiber. So like, polyester and nylon and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But yes, so synthetic clothes, as much as I love these hiking pants, I'm starting to wonder,
it's hard, dude. Yeah. I think, mean, to me, I think it's good to start seeing that, even in clothing, you can start using recycled materials. I mean, anything that helps, because to me, dude, every time that you buy something that has a recycled fiber in it, it's one less fiber that's going in, So at least there's that, and a lot of organizations and I think companies are really starting to take effect of that, which is great, but it doesn't stop what's already out there either. And that's really, really tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to kind of talk about some of the things that are, we'll talk about this in a somewhat positive light. There are things that are being done. So, researchers at RMIT University, they are coming up with this powder that removes microplastics from the water using some kind of magnetic system. So I don't know if that's ions and anions, there's that charge that there's, so I don't know exactly. I was trying to, look that up before we got on, and I couldn't find the answer. Maybe we can touch on to that a little bit later, on another episode. The other thing too is an electric field. They're trying to find electric fields to isolate plastics in water. So I know sewage treatment plants, they're seeing a lot of, microparticles going through, and they're trying to figure out different ways that they can start removing plastics, microplastics. The one thing that I saw, which I thought was really cool, was to get, to stop bottles and plastics and all that from getting into the ocean in the first place, where they're starting to break up by smashing waves. Trying to clean up the ocean's a lot harder than trying to clean up a smaller river. So there was this one invention that I saw recently where there was it was this pipe with a perforated pipe with, holes all in it.
Okay.
And stretched across the whole entire river, and it just aerated it. So it would just blow air bubbles into the river. And as the stream was flowing down, any plastic that was, cruising down the river, cruising down the stream, it would float to the top. It would like get circled in and float to the top, and then they'd have a big skimmer to catch it all. So that was something that I thought was pretty, So
nice. Stop it at the source,
stop
before
it
gets
source.
in there.
Yeah. Although the source shouldn't really be the river, like we should be we shouldn't even be the source. It's not, it's the oh man, this drives me nuts. It goes way back to the people, the organizations that are using these plastics. Like I learned this too. This was something crazy that like, I remember Coca-Cola put, I don't know. I'm calling you out, Coca-Cola. I don't care. But there was a commercial like way back when they were starting to say like, plastics are a problem. Like, what are we doing with all this garbage? And this was like in the late 70s, I think, during like that green movement.
With Greenpeace and all that.
Right. So Coke saw that and they're like, oh, we got to stop, being, they're pointing the finger at us. We got to figure this out. So very,
but you're making it.
And well, in a very smart way, they put out a commercial that showed a dad walking down, it was like, I don't know, whatever, Manhattan. And he's walking down the main road and he finished his Coca-Cola bottle and he threw it in the grass. And the little girl goes, Dad, like, don't throw your plastic bottle in the grass, throw it in the recycling. And then so like she picked it up. And so what that message sent out was like, it turned it around on like it's our fault. Like, it turned the message Coke was so smart and saying, you don't throw this plastic bottle in the garbage, or don't throw it in the grass. Like, make sure you recycle it, or it's your fault. But if they weren't making plastic bottles filled with their beverage,
you wouldn't have to worry about it.
You wouldn't have to worry about it.
Because you could have a bottle of
clever way to
you could have a bottle made of like cornstarch where, at that level of a size of a company, invest in a different material like cornstarch, and then it can naturally biodegrade, or build the system to help recycle it better. Right. If you're that level of conglomerate, where's the R&D for research and development?
Well, it's all about money, man. It's money talks. It's less expensive.
And it's not just Coke. It's so many of them. It's many.
Well, yeah. But that's the whole point. Is just like that's the source. So when I'm talking about, what's making it to the river, that's great, certainly, but really the source is coming from these manufacturers who are ordering bottles. Now, I will say this, I am not a sponsored plug by any means. I literally was in the store the other day and I bought this. Can you see that?
I have that deodorant. So
it's deodorant, man. It's made by Native, and literally the only reason why I bought it was because it was in a cardboard container.
Yes, there's also one. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, it's made with zero plastic whatsoever, and and it works really well. And it smells good.
And it smells good. Yeah. And I don't think there's any like synthetic like oils or petroleums in there either, right? I think it's just natural oils and like essentials in there.
Yeah, and to you folks out there who say natural deodorants don't work, you got to go through a phase first. Once you get past that phase, you really start to work.
Trust the native
the aluminum come out of your arms first. Just let that come out. Once all that flushes out, you can start using that stuff, and you'll be all right.
You'll see. Wise words from Jam and Jam, bro.
Deodorant speak. Who knew that direction? That's the direction we were going to be going in.
No, but seriously, dude, like there's small steps. That's an example of a solution. Like anyone or any company can make that kind of material, for their packaging, and it works.
Right.
So why not,
And then even we as consumers, we can get recycled, or reusable bags. When I go to Aldi's, I have a bag, but I start bringing that to all the other grocery stores that I go to, and they ask me for a bag. This is funny. She was about to bag my groceries. And I was like, oh no, thanks. I don't need a bag. And she's like, oh, okay. So she took my items out of the bag and threw the bag in the garbage. I was like, what did you do?
It's like, damn it, I would have taken the effing bag.
Yeah, I would have rather taken the bag and reused it. Just threw it away. There was
Leave it to me. I'll take care of that.
My bag of apples. I was already in a bag.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need a bag.
Yeah. Every apple was wrapped individually in the plastic bag that then went in your reusable bag.
I know. I was so mad.
Oh, it's so broken.
But I mean, so yeah, so you can do that. But like recyclable or reusable bags, like, there's like sandwich bags, plastic water bottles. Just stop buying plastic water bottles.
Right. Get a
Wooden Journey reusable water bottle.
I'm just
There's
saying.
a plug for you.
There you go. And your bottle will plant trees across the world.
Yeah.
So win-win.
That's a legit thing just for you people.
Yeah.
Just, check it out. woodenjourney.com.
Yeah.
But
go get your canteen.
For sure. It's like, so, I mean, you can reusable containers. Like there are things that we can do as consumers that we can say, we're not buying into your system, Coke. We don't need your water bottles. We don't need, Aquafina, get out of here.
Yeah.
And it just drives me nuts. Yeah, it just drives me nuts that this is so, like you said, it's not talked about enough on mainstream media or anything like that. But this is a huge problem.
No.
And we're really going down the wrong path. And I know I don't want to take up too much time because I know you want to go too. But one other great thing that I know, they're also starting to come up, another solution is to replace plastics with something else. And they're starting to do that. I saw a study. They're starting to use seaweed, which is really, really cool because they can grow that on their own. Sick. They don't need to like rip it out of the sea. They can just keep growing it and make a plastic alternative. Another thing I saw was biodegradable polymers are made from orange peels. So like somehow they're making
we're getting there, man.
A biodegradable polymer, not just a polymer that just sits in the environment forever, but an actual something that would break down. So we are getting there. Small steps, but it's the knowledge. Knowledge is power. If we can start at the consumer level, watching what we're consuming and what we're buying. One other thing we started doing was Earth Breeze. You can buy Earth Breeze washing sheets. I think you and I had talked about this before, actually.
I believe so.
So like they come in like a cardboard biodegradable envelope, and they're squares. You just throw those in the washing rather than the big plastic jug of liquid detergent. Okay. That's something else you can do. Reusable soap bottles and bar soap, bar shampoo, all that.
It matters, dude. It matters.
Yeah, it matters. So small steps, man. We at least we can know we're trying to do what we are, dude. The world out there is scary, but if we can show that we're trying, man, I'm doing my best. That's all we can say.
And dude, like it all comes back. I mean, even I guess just to leave a good note in here, it all comes down to the fact that consumers need to understand that they still have power at the end of the day. And dude, what you just hold up the native again. You just doing that proved that, because you buying that in the store, that was basically you saying, this is my vote. I'd rather spend a couple extra bucks and have a FSC, which is, Forestry Stewardship Council certified container with a product that's going to do the exact same job, where now I don't need to worry about this piece of plastic sitting in a landfill hopefully will get recycled the correct way. This is just a natural paper product that'll break down, And then there's the common debate where, the other people, they start to argue and they say, okay, well, paper or plastic, which one's better?
Right.
Every time we'll say paper's better.
That was the whole reason why plastic came out in the first place, to say, we're saving trees.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you just sustainably manage the forest in the first place, you don't have to worry about it. Because then if you have the system going in, you don't have to decimate the entire forest to keep making new ones. Recycle the damn paper and make another bag out of it.
Exactly.
You already have the system.
I know I think you and I have talked about this before. Bamboo, they're making a lot of paper products out of bamboo, which they can have a little swath of land. It grows so fast.
Yes, dude.
They can just keep reusing that same plot of land for bamboo, and they make all the products we need, that we were getting out of trees.
You just leave it alone. It spreads. I mean, it spreads like a freaking weed, and I think it grows 6 to 10 feet, I think, depending on the certain species a year.
Wow.
A normal tree takes 30 to 40 years to reach adulthood, So in 1 year, you're talking about 50% of the height that you can get in bamboo. And like you said, just leave it alone and then use that. Then cut it down at the root, let it grow again. And
there are alternative solutions, there are. We just need to utilize them.
Yeah. And I think people are starting to finally care about it, which is good, So I think I think, like you said, I think at the punchline is we're a very long way away still, but it's very uplifting to see at least that there's options now when you go to the grocery store or the supermarket, or a general store, where there's these options that are way more sustainable, that aren't just complete plastic anymore.
Right.
Things are really you're starting to have options where you go. And that's nice to know, because people like you and I, where I'm okay spending the extra couple dollars
we're looking
do that.
For it. Yeah. I mean, that's not a cheap deodorant, man. I mean, I can go buy a thing of Arm & Hammer or Degree, or I don't even know what they make anymore. For like $4.99. This was like $12, but
they're not cheap. But
I just
if you get it to the point of scale, okay, now that brand, you supported that brand with your purchase. Now, hopefully, that brand can now maybe offer a cheaper item, and then offer it at a cheaper cost, and then it invites more people in, and then you start to get that traction going that way. And again, the brands start to notice.
This is podcast 3. We are not sponsored by anybody.
No, we're not.
So that's just a happy consumer buying who has a concern for the environment. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, this was good, dude.
That's my contribution for this episode. I hope that maybe next episode I'll try to find some positive.
That's okay, dude. That's okay.
Find something. Yeah.
I appreciate. I think, and everyone appreciates the awareness of the topic, and maybe people. I don't think many people were even aware of how bad that was. So just
I didn't. I knew it on your radar. But...
Yeah, but that level of detrimental fact is a whole other ball game, as opposed to what everyone knows. Like, yeah, plastic is a problem, but like, how bad of a problem is it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty brutal.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. So, wow, man. All right. Well, that was rough, but still good to know, I think.
One of these days, I'm just going to make I'm just going to blow you away. And you're like, man, that was great. What a great topic. Thanks for sharing that with me. Instead of every time it's so...
I think the episode that you bring good news forward, I'm calling it, man. We close the whole pod. That's it. It's like, wow, he found a good
the one with Patagonia, that was a good one.
You know what? All right, we got to end it. That's
we
true.
We did have one.
There was one out there. So funny.
Don't expect any more from me. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. I don't want to put too much optimism out there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, man.